Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Hack-'em-All. Today we're going to hack our blue metal vase from our new Americana add-on box, okay? And even though it's lovely just like this, we can get really creative with this item. So I've decided to use my favorite craft paint in a chalk finish in white, in white, and then 2 masking tape sizes in different widths. And we're using this to create a nice design or just a sharp line. You guys can get super creative with this, do a geometric shapes, and I'll show you exactly how. Our handy dandy paper towel for any messes, and then I have some flowers here for at the end to arrange. Okay, so I've decided on just one color, but you can go crazy with this and have as many colors as you want. And I love this blue, so I'm gonna keep it. And that's what I'm using the masking tape for. The white I brought in, so maybe it's a little bit more of a coastal vibe, even add some boho in here. And let's begin. Okay, so first you're gonna start with your masking tape, and you can decide on any design. You can put the masking tape across and create some nice geometric lines. You can create stripes going up and down or even sideways. You can mask any area that you want to stay blue. And also you can introduce additional colors, so there's multicolors in here. I've decided to use I don't know what size this is, but the narrow one that I have available with me. And I'm gonna mask the top here so that I have the top part is white and this is gonna stay blue. So let me get here. Hopefully I've cut up enough. If not, it's not a problem with masking tape. You can always layer pieces on to get exactly the design that you want. Any area with the masking tape, again, is gonna stay the color that's underneath. And if you wanted to change the color of the vase completely to a different color, then you would probably paint the entire piece first in the new color that you're introducing to the vase. So let's say that I wanted to change this completely to black. I would paint the entire thing black first, let it dry, and then mask the areas that I want to stay black, and then introduce a second color like white or gold. So I didn't make it all the way around, and that's okay. Didn't measure that correctly. I can just go and add the piece that I need. Make sure that my edges are real nice and tight to right here. I don't want a wiggly line. Okay, and then something that's really important is to make sure that you line up your tape if I had to meet it up right here. Also, that you press down on the edges real nice so that no paint leaks through to the color that you want to stay. So I'm fixing my edge here because I did not line them up. So I'm gonna make sure I do that. Perfect. Okay, so again, make sure that you press these edges, that there's no wrinkles for any paint to go through. That way you have a nice and clean, sharp line. Okay, so doing that. I'm gonna be using this bristle brush so that I can create a nice gradient going up. So I'm gonna get real dense with the paint right here and then sort of brush it up once I get towards the center. And these bristles are going to allow this nice, like loose sort of design to happen at the top. So we're going for perfection here, straight lines, and then here a little bit more loose, and see how that happens. So I'm gonna start with my top part, and I'm gonna check it one more time. I think the most important part, if you are using masking tape to create a design, is to make sure you have a sharp line. So I'm making that perfect there. Okay. So I have a ton of fun doing these hacks with you guys, and I can't wait to see what you've done with your vase. If you've kept it the same, you can also embellish this, tie some rope around it, or any other kind of material that you want to add some texture to it. Now I'm using my brush strokes going up, And I'm also doing that to make sure, once again, that I have a really sharp line. And this paint is a chalky finish, so it kind of dries really quickly and I can be pretty generous with it. And that way, because I'm brushing upward, there's no way that the paint can get underneath that masking tape. Okay. If you find, I kind of realize now that right here, this top part is going to be not as sharp, but it is helping that I'm brushing up. So it's just sort of finishing off right there where the vase finishes. And as you guys see, I do not use a paint palette. I'm sure some of you must be like, oh my God, I'm painting right off the little container for the paint. That's okay. Sometimes I use a paint palette if I have different colors. And this hack is pretty simple. It should dry pretty quickly. Here at Hackable Studio, or the Decocrated Studio, we use a heat gun to make sure this process goes quickly, the little magic of hacking. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I even like, because I'm doing some textures here at the bottom, that the lines here are not necessarily super smooth. And now I'm just making sure that I have everything covered. I did go over a little bit on here, so I do have my paper towel that's wet a little bit, and I'm going to gently take off the stuff that I don't want to be there. And let's see if this works for me. Yep. Okay. All right, you guys, it is still not a super sharp line, but I think I'm going to like that with the texture in the bottom. So we'll make sure not to touch that while we start at our bottom part of the vase. So again, I wanted the paint to be very dense here. So I'm gonna just really glop it on here, put a lot, and I'll start working it in the same spot that I put the paint. I'll start already going up. This particular chalk finish dries very quickly, so I want to make sure that I can get this gradient before it dries. Okay. And so I put plenty of paint so it gives me a nice thick line down here. And what we're just doing is letting the paint tell me how far it wants to go before it's not marking anymore. And you'll see that the paintbrush is creating these really, really cool lines and textures. So I'm loving this. And I think that this is as high as I want to go. You can always decide to go a little higher, and all you would need to do that is just put more paint here and then again brush up. So I guess the trick here with this particular technique and this brush that we're using is brushing up is our best bet. Okay, so I'm gonna try to position this in a way that I don't touch any of the wet parts. Start putting more paint down here. And again, start really, really nice and thick with your paint. And then start working it up until the gradient starts happening for you. The paint will eventually be enough, and you'll start seeing some of the blue come through, so you know when to stop. Okay. So this was inspired actually by one of you, our deco creators, with our spring 2021 planter. Someone painted it half white and half black, and the part in the bottom was feathered this way, and I thought it was so beautiful that I would recreate that for our vase from the Americana box. And if you're the one who did the planter for spring, comment below and let me know how I did. You were definitely my inspiration, and all of you are with all the hacks that you do. So as you can see, I've got a pretty good area covered, and it's looking really cool, you guys. Okay, So let me make sure, maybe I can get away this time without getting any paint on, oh, too late. But hopefully none of my clothes. So I'm gonna try to lean it carefully here. The good thing with this technique that I'm doing is that maybe a little smudge can be fixed with the brush and it won't look so bad. Okay, so I'll continue here. Okay. So I did that pretty quickly. I'm really, really loving the way that the top part is happening here. It doesn't, oh no, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now I'll check if I have any spots. I just made a spot there with that. And what I'm gonna check for now is to make sure that I went up high enough all the way around, that there aren't any parts that are too low. I think right around here, I might have not gone as high as the rest. So that's an easy fix. Just add a little bit more paint and brush up. Okay. So I'm going to let the bottom dry a little bit more and definitely let this top part dry completely before you remove the tape, again, to make sure you have a nice sharp line. So we'll wait and let this dry for a little bit and then we'll reveal our finished product soon.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
Okay, so we've let our vase dry for a bit and the top part probably still has a little bit to go. I know I said to make a really sharp line to wait until it's dried completely, but I think I'm gonna do it early and I got some advice and you should let it be not completely dry, just sort of in between so you get a nice sharp line. So I'm going to reveal now what this top part looks like. I'm a little nervous. Let's make sure that I did a nice sharp line. Oh no. Let's see. So there was one area where I got a little paint through, but I think it's totally fixable. And things like this happen and we just work through it, you guys. So some of it is super sharp. Well, most of it is really sharp. Right here, I did get a little bit of the white paint come down, but I'm gonna wait and see if maybe I can fix that with some blue paint or I can try to find something to take this paint off. But for the most part, it came out really good. And even if it's not perfect up here, I'm still happy with it because we did this texture in the bottom. It's not supposed to be perfect. And it's actually giving me these prints. I don't know if you guys have seen these tie-dye effect called shibori, which is blue and white prints that are tie-dye. Check out our members only shop. We have some prints in there that will match really well with this vase that we just created. And just check out the members only shop for anything to match with your Decocrated pieces. Okay, so we have our vase here and it's not perfect, but we'll work on that. And I did bring some florals to make it more happy. And so we are loving our wildflowers this season. And we're going to just arrange them. I think it needs a little bit more. And this is a super fun and happy way to bring color into your home. So even with the flowers, it's covering up some of those issues, but I think it looks great. So let me know what you think about this hack or any of the hacks that we've done. Check them out in our videos, past videos. Comment below if you're loving this or if you have any advice for me. Again, we're not the DIY experts, you guys are, so let us know how we're doing and show us some love. Like this video, share it with your friends. Thanks for joining this Hack 'em All. See you guys soon.